Week 0 gave us a taste, but Week 1 is where the season really kicks off. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to another installment of the TBD College Football Show with your host. I'm Mason. Along for the ride with me is Isaac and our producer, DJ for short. This is the show, your go-to for everything college football. Last week, Week 0 was actually not bad. We had a great game in the Farmageddon matchup over in Ireland. Iowa State and their offensive line, like we talked about, helping them get the dub. They ran the ball really well in the second half, made some good adjustments, got the win over the projected Big 12 winner, Kansas State. Even had a gritty season momentum building program win by Hawaii over Stanford. And we also had some other games that were pretty interesting, but kind of blowouts. So not really, except for UNLV almost somehow losing to an FCS school, Idaho State. Anyway, Week 1, it's here. We've got packed stadiums, powerhouse matchups, and playoff dreams literally already on the line. From statement games to trap games, we're breaking it all down right here, right now.
All right. Oh, boy. Me and Joey, we've been excited for this one for 8+ months. Been on the counter for a long time. Our favorite segment, the game of the week. This week, we've got a do-or-die matchup. Playoff stakes are already on the line. 1-0 or 0-1 will play a bigger deal than anybody realizes. It is LSU, 9th-ranked LSU, taking on 4th-ranked Clemson in the fake Death Valley. We're kicking off at 7:30 Eastern on ABC. Mason?
Oh boy. Yeah, so there was a lot of seemingly and hopefully great matchups this week. But the game of the week is so hard to choose with all these great matchups. But it ultimately came down to the Tigers versus Tigers and the first installment of the battle for Death Valley. And Isaac, I know you have a lot of points you want to hit, so let's hear it, buddy.
So, first off, Clemson is favored by 3.5. This is really interesting. Every projection I've looked at has said Clemson by 3, Clemson by 4. I looked at one today that said 31-27 Clemson in a thriller. I can only hope it's that close. Brian Kelly has an opening game losing streak and is attempting to avoid losing 4 straight. LSU has not won a season opener since 2019. We're 4-6 since 2015, with 5 of those losses being 2020 to present day. It's a big deal. The significance really is of needing to prove who the real Death Valley and the real Tigers are. LSU has a chance to make a statement as they'll host Clemson in Week 1 in 2026 and the second part of a home-and-home. LSU's defense seemed to click, at least somewhat, with Blake Baker last year. After Harold Perkins got hurt, Whit Weeks stepped up to be a big player and really the star of the defense. Side note, I sat next to Whit Weeks' parents on a flight in 2022. Pretty cool. I didn't know who their kids were at the time, but we know now. How will they look with the return of number 7? LSU's O-line only returns 1 starter from 2024, although we did add 2 starting transfers with a combined 45 out of 64 total starts for the offensive line for this year. So, very young O-line, 2 guys combined for almost 2/3 of the starts. Now, there's a lot of hype surrounding the Nuss Bus for 2025, but how will he fare with a run game that's been inconsistent at best and a D-line in Clemson that some are saying could be the best D-line in college football in 2025?
You know, it's crazy how you brought up only 1 starter from the O-line for LSU is returning, Isaac, because Clemson is returning 81% of its total production for the 2025 season. That is 16 total starters. 86% of its offensive production returning 8 of the 11 offensive starters, and then 75% of its defensive production returning 8 of those starters returning. Some defensive stars to look out for, especially against that, new offensive line. You got Peter Woods at D tackle. You got TJ Parker at DN, Avion Terrell at DB. You got Khalil Barnes in the safety position, as well as Wade Woodaz and Sammy Brown at those linebacker spots. But wait, there's more. The offensive stars of Clemson, the most hyped up players coming into this season. There's Cade Klubnik at the helm. There's also TJ Moore and Bryant Wesco, 2 young rising stars, as well as Antonio Williams, the star of last year. Hopefully, he improves even more. And lastly, but certainly not least, the co-MVPs of the ACC championship game, Adam Randall, who was wide receiver, but is now turned running back, and then Nolan Hauser. I can't believe I'm saying this, but Clemson's kicker. Now, I will point out, with the injury of Jay Haynes, a freshman running back may get some decent playing time, splitting counts with Adam Randall, Gideon Davidson. So also watch out for him. There's no tape on him, so I'm excited for this one.
Listen, I have been listening to them bicker and go back and forth about who the real Death Valley is for years, guys. You can check our TikToks and our YouTube shorts and you can see what I'm talking about. So I'm tired of this. It's time to settle in on the field. Who y'all got? Even though I'm pretty sure I know.
Man, listen, there's no need to make this long and drawn out. I'm going to be there on Saturday. Give me the purple and gold LSU Tigers. I like Brian Kelly to get a win. It's going to be a stressful game, a long day, a tough game, but give me the boys from Baton Rouge. Go Tigers.
I think a big word that is going to be used a lot between me and Isaac between now and Saturday is the word stressful. I genuinely don't know how this game is going to turn out, especially with the scarring results of last year's season opener. But you know what? Cade Klubnik is still in it. I'm going to be choosing my Clemson Tigers.
Oh boy, yep, I knew this was going to happen. I am split down the middle to make the final decision. So, this one's actually difficult than you would think. I mean, obviously, Clemson's going to have the home field advantage. They return a lot of starters, but there's a lot of pressure on Brian Kelly right now, really for pride to prove that he's still got it. He's one of the best coaches in college football right now, but doesn't have a national championship or really hardly anything to show for it. And of course, he doesn't have any conference championships because he was at Notre Dame for so long, who doesn't play in a conference. However, man, this is a really difficult pick, but I'm going to have to go with the Tigers of Clemson. Give me Dabo. I think he's still got the dynasty. I just don't trust Brian Kelly. I think I mentioned it a little bit ago, but I am not high on Garrett Nussmeier. I think Cade Klubnik is going to have this offense ready and explosive, and I am super excited to see it, although I do think it's going to be a close game, and I do think Garrett Nussmeier is still a good quarterback. I do think that it's going to come down to Clemson just being the better team under the lights at Memorial Stadium. Moving back a day to some Friday games, we've got one that might not be on your radar, but it's Auburn versus Baylor at 8 p.m. on Fox.
The spread is Auburn favored by 2.5, and for the Auburn fan base, this is a way bigger deal than most might think.
Yes, this is the year for the Auburn Tigers. 3 years ago, Coach Freeze told us, or he led us to believe, that it was going to take him 3 seasons to get his players. He's done it. The time has come. The past 2 seasons, Auburn has gone 6-7 and 5-7 with not even a bowl win to show or any big meaningful win. Their biggest win coming in an overtime thriller last year versus A&M. Flash forward to 2025. Hugh has his players and no excuses this time. This matchup against Baylor is extremely important because if they don't win this game against Baylor, it could set up their whole season for failure, literally. Isaac, give us some facts, buddy.
So Baylor definitely has the offensive edge here with the quarterback running back duo of Robertson and Washington. Baylor could outgun Auburn if they both hit their stride early. Plus, your boy Dave Aranda is still calling the shots for Baylor. Shout out 2019 LSU defensive coordinator. Auburn's defensive line versus Baylor's rushing attack is a critical matchup. Auburn has also picked up Oklahoma signal caller Jackson Arnold, who will most likely be the starter, but you know the Auburn faithful want to see Deuce Knight, especially if Arnold struggles early.
Plus, Baylor does have the chrome helmet blackout uniforms, which look so good, and they have home field advantage, and it's prime time on Fox. But does Baylor step up to the challenge, or does Hugh freeze the pressure and pick up a big season opener in East Texas? What do we think?
Yep, give me the Baylor Bears, baby. 2.5-point spread, not that big. I think that mobile quarterback duo is going to come in. I think Jackson Arnold's going to be nervous. I don't think he's got a lot of confidence. Brand new quarterback, brand new scheme. And like I said on our tier list rankings a few weeks ago, I don't trust Hugh Freeze. Give me Dave Aranda, that man, and his Baylor Bears.
Well, listen, I don't like Auburn as it is, but I think Baylor gets it done. It's a home game, Friday night. Let's get week one started with a bang. Give me the Baylor Bears as well.
I find this game pretty interesting, especially the way you two both picked, because, this is SEC versus Big 12, and we're seeing two SEC fans picking the Big 12. Does that mean Auburn is just that bad? I really do like Jackson Arnold, but I really don't like Hugh Freeze. But I think Auburn's offense is going to be much better this year. They have brought in some good talent, so I'm gonna go with Auburn here. I'm gonna go against the boys.
To be fair, I think Isaac really picked him because of Dave Aranda, and that was LSU's 2019 DC when they won the championship. So I just,
All right. Well, it's officially the post Hunter Sanders era in Boulder, during which the Buffaloes win a combined 13-12, which obviously warrants our jersey retirement, don't you think? Anyway, so that's right. We're heading west to Boulder for the matchup between Georgia Tech and Colorado at 8 p.m. on ESPN on Friday night.
So we've heard a lot about Deion Sanders and his firm practice rules. They highlight a disciplined team culture. Personally, I like the culture that Deion's building there, minus the retiring of jersey numbers, among other things. But even then, I think that just shows that Deion really cared about players like Travis Hunter, who did win the Heisman for a team that just went 1-11 2 seasons ago. Spread Georgia Tech by 4.5 points, according to ESPN Bet. Let's first take a look at the Yellow Jackets. They also return a great quarterback and running back duo of the Hayneses. That is quarterback Haynes King, who threw for 2,114 yards, 14 touchdowns, and only 2 interceptions last year with a QBR of 78.6, 13th in the country, guys. Then running back Jamal Haynes, who ran for 944 yards and 9 touchdowns. And as a Georgia fan, I can tell you that Haynes King's legs are absolutely explosive and very much so a threat. And if Colorado is not careful, he will expose them.
On the other side, this is probably one of the most exciting portal pickups that I was able to see or was able to follow this offseason, and that is that the Buffaloes went out and picked up seasoned fifth-year senior Caden Salter from Liberty. I have some friends who are recent Liberty alumni, so it's really cool for me. In his 4 years at Liberty, Caden threw for 5,887 yards, 56 touchdowns, rushed for 2,013 yards, and added 21 rushing touchdowns. So in total, he accumulated almost 8,000 yards worth of offense and 77 touchdowns. He won the starting job over freshman phenom Julian Lewis, with head coach Deion Sanders favoring Salter, quote, because of his experience. The safety group, weakened by departures like Shiloh Sanders and Cam Silman Craig, now features South Florida transfer Tawfiq Biard and returning Carter Stoutmeyer, adding range and ball hawking potential. Depth, however, remains a concern. Georgia Tech, on the other hand, boasts stability up front and depth overall. Colorado's offensive line injuries could tip control towards Tech, but Colorado does have the newly re-energized home field advantage because of Folsom Field.
So, what's the thought process here?
Man, I got to say, Caden Salter is a good QB. I think Deion has the chance to finally start off on a positive note, even without his playmakers in Shiloh and Shadur and Travis. But I'm going to go with the boys from the ACC. Give me the Yellow Jackets with a stinger on Friday night in Boulder over the Colorado Buffaloes.
And I'm going to make this real easy. Isaac, I am right there with you. Yes, sir. Give me the Georgia Tech Yellow Jackets. And of course, as a Georgia fan, I hate picking that. However, yes, Haynes King, he's definitely a threat. They've picked up some guys this offseason. They've done a lot of work. They don't want to be a team that goes 6-7. I definitely think that they're going to be explosive this year, and I think that they're going to be ready. If they can take Georgia to the wire in an atmosphere like Sanford Stadium, then I definitely think they can go on the road to Folsom Field and pick up a win here.
I will also bring up that, Georgia Tech, yes, losing Eric Singleton, but also bringing on Eric Rivers, which I've spoken about before. Really love the player, and he's going to be a great addition to Georgia Tech. It's just even more speed on that offense. I feel like other than the bowl game loss against Vanderbilt, Georgia Tech ended the season on a positive note, and I think if they build off that, it's a no-brainer. So I am gonna pick Georgia Tech here. Hopefully, they prove us right. I can see Colorado's offense, overpowering, but I think Georgia Tech has enough defense, at least more defense than Colorado, in order to win this game.
All right, we're moving back to Saturday now. Going back to Saturday, starting out with the I hate both of these teams and wish they could both lose it bowl. You guessed it. It's number 1 Texas taking on number 3 Ohio State in the shoe in a quick turnaround CFP rematch between these two. I mean, OSU, like Ohio State, was literally the last team that Texas faced in the 2024 season, with Ohio State besting them in the CFP semifinal to make it to the national championship game, where they would end up winning like last week we talked about. We were unhappy about that. However, the Longhorns get a very literal back-to-back game against the same team.
Yeah, so we talk a lot about how the preseason poll is nonsense, but a lot of people expected Ohio State to get the nod at number 1, but not even close to number 3, especially behind Big Ten rival Penn State, who I love and is my favorite Big Ten team.
This game also had some controversy late this summer when we found out the game was on the big noon kickoff, which means that it kicks off at noon. This apparently was a pretty big problem for Ryan Day as he tried to petition Texas to move the game to Friday for obvious reasons.
And if it's not that obvious to you, it's because Ryan Day wanted the night game atmosphere. And of course, Sark said no. And I mean, Fox tapped into a market with Big Noon Kickoff by giving football fans a quote unquote meaningful and big time game right at the start of college football Saturday.
Exactly, and I can't say I blame Sark, but let's break this down. This isn't just week 1. This is a title level rematch. Texas rolls in as the number 1 team. Arch Manning finally in the spotlight, ready to make a statement. But across the field, the defending national champs, State, remain a stone cold juggernaut under a promising new QB. With a spread hovering at 2.5, both offense and defense tuning up, and the narrative of revenge in the air, this game is not just a season opener, it's a narrative showdown. Not to mention, they've got Jeremiah Smith on the wideout side, and not to mention, Ohio State has banned Portnoy from the shoe on Saturday. So this is a big one.
Yeah, that's actually crazy, though. I cannot believe they actually did that. That just shows you how deep the Ohio State-Michigan rivalry goes. Anyway, we have not seen a Week 1 showdown this hyped since Clemson-Georgia 2021 when Georgia went to Charlotte, won the game on a defensive pick six by Chris Smith. But, Isaac, like you mentioned, there is definitely a lot of hype surrounding Arch Manning. It's probably the reason why they're number 1 in the preseason poll. It's his first season start versus Sayan's first game. That would be Julian Sayan, by the way, his first game in Columbus. So we've got experience on the one hand and hype in the other. So can Manning silence the horseshoe? That's going to be the big question. His projected red zone effectiveness may swing the outcome. Texas's offensive line turnover, it's going to test the run blocking. Ohio State has had significant turnover. 14. We haven't seen really that many draft picks since Georgia in 2022 with 15, but 14 players lost to the NFL draft, including playmakers like Jack Sawyer. It means that fresh faces are going to have to fill major roles almost immediately. Defensively, however, on both sides, top talent lost to the pros. Both defenses are going to have to lean on depth and rotation. Special teams and penalties are going to be X factors here. We mentioned both coaches earlier, who are both strong-willed and smart. Texas, they embrace a hunter identity under Sarkisian, which is 100% stolen from Kirby Smart saying, "We will not be hunted in the SEC." Ohio State, they support saying amidst the shifts on both sides of the ball under Day.
This is the kind of high stakes game that, listeners and viewers live for. So are we going to split or are we going to see another TBD triple pick? What do we think?
Well, I can tell you right now, that spread is that close for a reason. However, I do not believe the hype of Arch Manning, and it pains my soul to say it, but give me the Buckeyes in the shoe Saturday at noon. I do think it was kind of a prissy move for Ryan Day to try to make the game on Friday. As a head coach, though, I guess I kind of understand it. As a head coach, you're going to want every single advantage you can give your kids, right? Which, for the same reason, is why Sark said no to moving the game to Friday night. But with all the experience that they still have at Ohio State, they're just coming off a national championship run. I'm not that high on Texas and everything that they lost. Give me the Buckeyes on Saturday.
Man, I don't hate Texas. I do hate Ohio State. But with that said, I'm gonna have to go with the Buckeyes as well. I don't think there's enough leverage there, enough experience to give Texas the edge. Now, if this game was in Austin, I'd probably feel differently, but it's not. It's in Columbus. It's on a Saturday, big noon kickoff. It's at the Shoe. That stupid Scarlet Red, the stupid team from Columbus, Ohio. The Buckeyes, give me the Buckeyes on Saturday. I don't want them to win. I hope I'm wrong. I hope I miss this pick, and I hope we go 0-3 or whatever we end up at. But give me Ohio fake on Saturday.
And before Joey makes his pick real quick, dude, this is like the one time, dude, there's no team that Ohio State could play that would make me not want to pull against Ohio State. But nah, this weekend I'm pulling for Ohio State. I can't stand Texas right now. So please, Buckeyes, pull through on this one, dude. And Joey, finally, we're not split, but are you going to split it with us? What do you think?
All I gotta say is I feel like at the quarterback position, Texas wins. I think at the safety position, they're pretty much tied with Taff and Caleb Downs. But I feel like Texas's defense is a little more experienced. And yes, Ohio State has Jeremiah Smith, but at the end of the day, I feel like Texas is going into this game with a mentality of you knocked us out. You were the team that took us out of contention. We're coming in here, cutthroat. So I'm gonna pick Texas here. It's tough for me. I think this is a close game, but I feel like Texas has a little more of that edge.
All right, let me just say, I hope Joey's right. But moving on, we are heading to the college football capital of the world, Atlanta. It's Syracuse versus 24th ranked Tennessee in the Aflac kickoff game in Mercedes-Benz Stadium, also known as Athens West. Good old Rocky Top is entering as a robust 13.5-point favorite over the Orange.
Which is crazy to me considering Tennessee does not have home field advantage and they lost so much this offseason. We talked about this a couple weeks ago too. Nico, he leaves for UCLA in what was almost like the first trade-like deal in college football. The Bruins, they get Nico. The Vols, they pick up Joey Aguilar, who had just transferred to UCLA from App State. Then they basically rebuilt their entire offense. They've got 4 brand new offensive linemen, a revamped running back group, and an entirely new receiving core. Their tempo, which was once lethal, it's going to depend on Aguilar's comfort level, obviously. Really, the only thing the Vols have going for them right now is their veteran level defense with everybody that they returned there. But offensively, they seem to be kind of lacking.
And let's just remember, Nico went to UCLA to play top-tier football in the best conference, not to get paid. Just kidding. It's the Big Ten, right? Syracuse may be in the same position at quarterback as they picked up Notre Dame transfer Steve Angeli. They also lost nearly all of their offensive firepower from their 10-3 2024 season. Quarterback Kyle McCord, wide receiver Trevor Pena, tight end Aronde Gadsden, and running back LaQuint Allen are all gone. I wanted to glance back. It really felt weird for me to say Rocky Top was a favor over the Orange because you also have the Vols who call themselves the Big Orange. It doesn't make sense. It's Tennessee. Like they don't know. They don't know. Can't blame them. But defensively, Syracuse ranked 69th against the run and 82nd against the pass last season. Improvement is non-negotiable. Coaching, however, is what they have going for them. Head coach Fran Brown is emphasizing discipline, situational awareness, and physical toughness to bridge the many new faces on the roster.
And I loved Coach Brown when he was at Georgia. I miss him deeply. But yes, it will be Fran Brown's immersive system building versus Heupel's tempo-based scheme, mentality versus momentum. Will Tennessee's famed pace stress Syracuse's new look defense? Brown anticipates it, quoting, "They gonna go fast."
All I got is Coach Brown actually went to WCU, Western Carolina University. So you might give me a little leeway here. So what's the play here, guys?
We'll go Cats.
I've just got to say, I have a hard time with this one because you've got mid-level ACC, no Kyle McCord, and then you've got Tennessee. A little bit of SEC bias from me. I am going to take the other orange, the gaudy orange, the stupid orange, whatever it is they call it in Knox Vegas, maybe. I don't know. Give me Tennessee. I don't think they cover the spread. I think 2 touchdowns is a really big ask. And I don't think they get it done. It's a brand new team. Give me Syracuse to cover, but I like the Vols in this one. They're going to volunteer for mediocrity.
Like I said earlier, I'm a big fan of Coach Brown at Syracuse. He was a Georgia alum. Or at least on the coaching staff. He was a Western Carolina alum, which is my alma mater. But yeah, dude, Tennessee, they are looking, even with the quarterback transfer, kind of a new offense. They're looking good. So give me good old Syracuse, baby. Yeah, heck no, I'm not picking Tennessee. Give me the freaking orange from up north this Saturday, just because Tennessee is rebuilding basically their entire offense. I mean, they have a brand new offensive line, brand new wide receiving core, a brand new quarterback who's just, he's got to get in there and learn the system. To be fair, Syracuse has the same thing going, but they've got a pretty good defense, and I think that Fran Brown is going to have this team ready to play, and it's kind of a gut thing, but yes, give me the Syracuse Orange on Saturday in Atlanta.
Oh, this is weird. Mason chose ACC instead of SEC. Um, Meanwhile, I'm choosing SEC over ACC. The only reason I'm choosing Tennessee here is because I just feel like they're stronger on defense, in my opinion. Um, yes, they're both going through the same struggles of losing a lot of people on offense. And let's not forget Joey Aguilar, uh, not even the greatest quarterback at App State. I'm not gonna lie, but hey, maybe he just needed a different spot. I'm pretty sure he got benched in one of the App State games. But yeah, I'm choosing Tennessee.
I wanted to say real quick, I just remember that Tennessee is looking to not get embarrassed 2 games in a row. They got handled at the Shoe to end their season in the quarterfinals last year, and now they're playing Syracuse. So Tennessee has the chance to do the funniest thing in history and quite literally volunteer themselves into mediocrity. I just want to put that out there.
Here's a game that started with some controversy early in the preseason after their quarterback said that this should be the primetime matchup Saturday night instead of Clemson LSU. You probably know what it is. It's number 8 Alabama heading to Florida State to take on the Seminoles at 3:30 p.m. on ABC. Obviously, the spread is favoring Bama by a lot, 13.5. All right, Isaac, what's the vibe in the stadium?
Well, considering that one of my good friends from work, Jim Hudson's going to be there, I'd say probably pretty freaking lit. It's sold out. Doak Campbell is buzzing. Alabama rolls into a full house. Florida State fans are ready to ignite the season. And get this, true freshman Javen Boggs is starting at receiver already. Big responsibility for year one. Let me also say that Florida State is going from the mountaintop to the valley. They went from 13-0 to 2-10. The ceiling can literally not be any lower for these guys. But as the great Michael Jordan said, the ceiling is the roof.
Absolutely, dude. I love that. I've never heard that quote. That's awesome. I mentioned him earlier, but Florida State's quarterback, who's under center.
It's Tommy Castellanos. He transferred in, called out Alabama all offseason, and now he's standing on business.
And Coach Norvell, he's sounding confident?
Totally. He's all about versatility and physicality, hyping up his offense and defense heading into this one.
All right, injury report. What's up?
Well, Alabama is without running back Jam Miller. He's out with a collarbone injury. They've got a multiple back rotation instead. Florida State is missing wide receiver LaWayne McCoy and defensive tackle Kevin Wynn.
Let's wrap this up with the weather. Is it going to have any impact?
Yeah, thunderstorms are likely, high humidity, temperatures near 79 degrees. Could play into Florida State's hands if it gets soggy. This is a true Florida game.
All right. All right. So here's the breakdown. Alabama's rolling in with a dominant week 1 resume. New QB Ty Simpson, but a loaded roster and a proven coach in DeBoer. Now, can he take himself out of the hot seat? Surprisingly, he's in. And they have Ryan Williams. FSU is rebuilding. New quarterback, new faces. But, hey, we all know that the fan base, they have a lot of heart, and there's always a lot of hype at the school. They also got Squirrel White at wide receiver, and their defense has been, honestly, one of the best things they've had the past few years. Injuries stacking up. Alabama's running back threat is diminished. FSU's missing a few key pieces as well. Now, public and models heavily favor Bama. I mean, 13.5-point spread, models predicting around a 14-point win, game day elements, uh, whether it's the crowd energy or the stormy weather, it could inject some drama, especially if Florida State's offense can stay alive. Who do we got?
I'll just say this. I really think Florida State has a shot, if nothing else, to cover. Unfortunately, I think I'm gonna take the Crimson Tide on Saturday. I don't think that I mentioned the ceiling is the roof, which, by the way, was something they did a ceremony in Chapel Hill a few years ago, and Michael Jordan spoke at the Dean Smith Center in basketball, and he said the ceiling is the roof, and so naturally, UNC being who they are, they had T-shirts made. Very uneducated by them, nothing new there. But anyway, uh, I think Florida State has a chance. I'm going to take the Crimson Tide. I think that Florida State makes it interesting, but I just don't think you go from 13-0 to 2-10 and then you beat Alabama. I just don't think so. I think they have a chance to keep it interesting. I think they have a chance to cover 2 touchdowns. I don't hate that, but unfortunately, I am going to have to take DeBoer and the Crimson Tide on Saturday in Tallahassee.
Yeah, I can make this one real easy too. I'm going to pick Alabama. However, if I were to bet, I'm not going to pick Alabama to cover the spread. I think going on the road, you got a new quarterback, you got some pretty key pieces returning. However, Doak Campbell, excuse me, is not an easy place to play. Plus, you might have a weather impact. Yeah, give me Alabama definitely to win this game, but don't count Florida State out. And I don't think Alabama covers a 13.5 spread.
Well, I'm just gonna put this out here. The Lord gave me a notification saying the Braves were up 11-2, and that sounds great at the moment, but it reminded me the Braves are really bad, and one tradition that the Braves share with Florida State is the war chant. So I'm gonna go Alabama, and honestly, I feel like it's a no brainer here.
There's another TBD triple pick.
All right, we roll the calendar to Sunday now, heading back to Atlanta for the second game in the Aflac Kickoff Series. It's Virginia Tech versus 13th ranked South Carolina at 3 p.m. on ESPN. South Carolina is favored by 8. Mason, what's the buzz around this matchup?
This is more than football. It's a family reunion turned rivalry. South Carolina's coach Shane Bieber is ever pressing against his alma mater, Virginia Tech.
Mason, any analysts picking the upset?
Ed Skimmy at covers expects a tight game and leads Virginia Tech plus 7.5 to cover. He points to their disciplined offense and a senior quarterback, Kyron Drones, pushing tempo in his final season.
So what's at stake for each team?
For South Carolina, it's about making a national impression under Shane Beamer. He's pushing his Beamer Ball 2.0 mindset, which you guys know we love some Beamer Ball. Let me rephrase. I love some Beamer Ball, and my wife loves some Beamer Ball because she went there. Winning this game is going to reinforce that strategy. Virginia Tech's about fighting for relevance under Brent Pry. They went 6-7 last year, lost 4 of 5 down the stretch, and need a statement win to reset momentum. And honestly, there was a couple games they probably should have won last year, and you guys know I'm specifically talking about Miami and those freaking cheating ACC refs, baby.
Yeah, that was a cold one. Joey, any quick keys to the game?
South Carolina has a quarterback. You may know
Do
him.
you
His
mean
name,
star quarterback, Lenora Sellers?
yeah, that guy. I don't like talking about him. He is dynamic. Heisman caliber, dual threat. Whatever. He
Clemson
can
knows
tilt
about
the.
that. Clemson knows about that. Come on now. Let's be real.
Oh, he can tilt this game himself. Virginia Tech leans on defense. Drones is under center, but they do lose their star running back from last season to the NFL draft. They will try to exploit any misstep in South Carolina's revamped system, including a pretty built-up defense this year.
South Carolina, they're definitely dominant, but they're not unbeatable. So you've got coaches with hokey ties, analytics that are leaning Gamecocks. Virginia Tech's defense and senior quarterback make them dangerous. Spread is only 7.5. We're going to need to expect a physical, high-stakes opener.
Who y'all picking?
Well, I'll say this. South Carolina should have had an extra win on the schedule last year in September. That game in Columbia that LSU absolutely was gifted, fell in our lap. South Carolina is a good team.
Yes, it was.
Now, that said, Virginia Tech should also have an extra win on their record from 2024 against Miami, the most bogus reverse call, not that I've ever seen, but arguably
Dude,
it's
I'm
up
gonna put
there.
it on the screen. But how in the world do you call it a catch on the field, have no conclusive video evidence to overturn, and then overturn it? I will never understand that, bro.
The
Never.
ACC needed a team to run the playoff chances. That's all. You just needed Miami. That's it. That's it. With that said, I'm going to take the Gamecocks, but I'm going to take the Hokies to cover. I think Virginia Tech keeps it close, but I think South Carolina gets it done. Lenora Sellers is a good QB. South Carolina, a little bit more strength. Give me the Gamecocks on Saturday and a close one.
I can make this one real easy. I'm coming with them quick tonight. Give me South Carolina and give me South Carolina to cover. I know that Virginia Tech is a good team. I know they have Kyron Drones. Cool. South Carolina has that great defense that they've built up, like Joey was talking about, and Lenora Sellers and some other great wide receivers. And so I think the Gamecocks are going to take this one in Atlanta, just a couple hours from their stadium. Don't have to travel that far. Give me the boys from Columbia this Saturday. Excuse me, Sunday in Atlanta.
I can't believe y'all somehow managed to trick me into saying this. I have no doubt, no brainer, South Carolina winning this.
Well, here's the thing, Joey. And it's something that something that Clemson fans have not been able to say for a long time, but South Carolina is now good at football. It's unfortunate for you guys, but for us, it's made the rivalry more interesting. But yeah,
How's that baseball team going?
if you hadn't noticed, this is a college football podcast. All right, Sunday night. Number 6, Notre Dame. They're taking on number 10, Miami, under the lights at Hard Rock Stadium. And here's the big controversy coming from a Georgia fan. They know who's under center. Carson freaking Beck. Mr. Pick himself is down in Miami cheating on his girlfriend with Latino women. That apparently is what happened. And anyway, hopefully he's focusing on football now. That's all I can hope. But let's get into this. Isaac, what's the vibe around this rivalry opportunity right now?
Mason, it's electric. Miami's coach, Mario Cristobal, calls it an incredible opportunity to stake their claim nationally, especially with quarterback Carson Beck taking over after Cam Ward's departure. Cristobal's urging Beck to just be his best self, not a superhero.
Oh boy, do we know about him trying to be a superhero. Anyway, how do the betting lines look?
Notre Dame's a road favorite or hovering around 2.5 to 3 points. The spread leans Irish by a field goal, according to Covers, FanDuel, and others.
What about the X Factor matchups?
Look out for Notre Dame's new nickelback, Devontae Smith. No, not Heisman wide receiver from Alabama, Devontae Smith, but Notre Dame's new nickelback, Devontae Smith. Nickelback, good band, decent music. Fans say he could emerge as a defensive standout.
Whoa, hang on. Whoa. I'm not here for this. I'm not here for this Nickelback hate now. Come on, Nickelback a good band. Anyway,
No,
continue.
I like Nickelback. I said good band, decent music. I mean, like, it wasn't like the best. I like Nickelback a lot. I'll
What?
be honest.
No, good band, great music, dude. Are we really
Okay.
arguing about this on a college football podcast? Yes, we
No,
are.
we're
but
arguing
Nickelback is
about-
good. Anyway, keep
We're
going.
arguing
bro.
about Devontae Smith, okay? Nickelback, Notre Dame, Devontae Smith, not the band. Shout out Chad Kroger. Anyway, fans say he could emerge as a defensive standout, bringing physicality and splash plays, especially in the run game and blitz packages. And oh, how you remind me.
Look at this offense. Who's the horse on the ground for the Irish?
Man, that's none other than Jeremiah Love, a preseason All-American, Heisman contender. Miami's front seven, Reuben Bain Jr., Justin Scott, and co. will need to clamp down on this guy.
And Miami's defense?
They're built up front, but the Irish still return 7 defensive starters. Analysts expect Notre Dame's D-line and secondary to control the pace and pressure Carson Beck early.
Atmosphere and significance.
This is pay dirt for the ACC's image. The atmosphere in South Beach, iconic. Irish quarterback Ian Book once said it was louder than anything he'd faced, even Georgia or Michigan. I don't know about all
Okay,
that.
I know
that's what he said.
I know that's BS. Yeah, I know that's not true.
Who we picking?
Man, give me the Irish. This is easy. I don't know why. Normally, I don't. You guys know. Normally, I don't pick this easy. But yeah, give me the Irish. Just coming off a national championship berth. Yes, they lost Riley Leonard, but they still got some playmakers returning a lot on defense and on offense. Give me the Irish to go down South Florida this week and pick up a dub.
Let's make it back to back. Give me the Irish as well. Marcus Freeman and the boys from South Bend. Going to go to South Beach, South Bend to South Beach. Hashtag Snapchat emoji here. Yeah, give me Notre Dame on Sunday night in Miami. I think they get it done. And no, this is not Notre Dame of Brian Kelly. This is Notre Dame of Marcus Freeman.
I feel like y'all think it's easy, but it does seem a little tough because it is at Miami. I mean, Miami showed to have a very impressive offense last season, but no defense. Going solely based off of how Notre Dame ended their season and postseason last year, I will go ahead and pick the Fighting Irish. But I would not be surprised if this is a very, very, very close game.
All right, y'all. If you're still here listening, thank you so much. We got one last game to pick. Last game of the weekend on a Monday.
Labor Day.
Monday night drama incoming. TCU Horned Frogs are going to hit the road to go face Bill Belichick's debut at the North Carolina Tar Heels. Isaac, what's fueling the national buzz, even though I'm pretty sure we already know?
Well, I mean, obviously, Championship Bill meets Chapel Hill, right? Bill Belichick takes the helm at UNC, and the college football world's watching. ESPN's lineup crews are all over this one. College football in primetime returns with a coach legend stepping into a new world, if you will. UNC is fully under the microscope, and that's not just because they're fake classes. Bill Belichick is on campus.
If you didn't know, Isaac's a Duke fan. Isaac, what is the betting landscape saying at the moment?
Well, TCU is a 3.5-point favorite at kickoff, with some earlier lines showing UNC as a modest favorite.
Tell us about the talent on both rosters.
Well, TCU brings back Josh Hoover, a record-setting quarterback with nearly 4,000 passing yards and 42 touchdowns over 2 seasons. Despite losing top receivers to the NFL, they've reloaded with talent like Eric McAllister, Jordan Dwyer, and Joseph Banjak IV, and Bud Clark anchors the defense. On the UNC side, Belichick's building from scratch, using transfers, emphasizing discipline. Quarterback Gio Lopez is unproven, but there's excitement around whether Belichick's scheme and culture shifts can translate immediately. I mean, his girlfriend's kind of relatable to these guys, so you know.
All right. Do we have any history in this matchup? Like, have these teams met before?
Well, they haven't played since 1997. However, UNC does lead the all-time series 3-0, though it's an ancient history at this point.
Last quick insights before the drop.
Well, TCU's edge, continuity at QB, seasoned coaching, offensive experience, defensive depth. UNC's hope. Bill Belly brings discipline, strategic upside, and an emotional lift at home, and the game flow, leaning toward under 58.5, given expected defensive emphasis and week 1 inefficiencies. Not to mention, Bill Belichick, first time in college, it's a whole new thing, and we just don't know what to expect.
So, are we picking the Powder Blues or are we picking the Frogs?
Well, I'll just say this. I like Powder Blue more than I like Carolina Blue, okay? But I'm actually going to take the Tar Heels on Monday night in Chapel Hill. I think Bill Belichick makes a statement in week 1, and I think he gets it done his first game in Chapel Hill. It's a lot nicer than what I'd like to say, but yeah, I think they get it done. I mean, you know, it is what it is. Give me Belichick and the Tar Heels.
I do like this one here. I think the spread is pretty correct of a 3.5-point favorite. I don't know. Gosh, this one's hard. Who's going to actually win this one? I mean, you do have Bill Belichick, who is a phenomenal head coach, but Sonny Dike was just in the national championship 2 years ago. Yes, they got decimated. Yes, we all made jokes about it. It's hilarious. Anyway, he's rebuilding his team. He's got a good quarterback in Josh Hoover, who is not a furry, by the way. That was a fake picture. Anyway, I believe in that team, which is why I'm going with TCU. This is a proven team that did pretty well in the Big 12 last year. They're looking to reload and come back and get back in that national conversation again. Just because it's Bill Belichick does not ultimately mean that they're going to be a great team off the cut, although I do think Bill Belichick can take them places, but it's still going to take some time.
Yeah, I mean, just like Mason said, I think that over time, Bill Belichick will be able to develop this UNC team. At least I hope so. I'm just uncertain about Gio Lopez and the rest of the UNC team as of right now. Meanwhile, TCU, I love Josh Hoover. I love Sonny Dike. So I'm going to choose TCU here.
That's going to do it for this week's edition of the TBD College Football Show. Week 1 is locked and loaded, and we are officially on the road to the college football playoff.
From Dublin to Dallas, from Saturday showdowns to Monday night lights, we've got wall-to-wall action, and we'll be here to break it all down.
Big games, big plays, bigger stakes. This is college football, unpredictable, unforgettable, and absolutely unbeatable.
We'll see you next week right here on the TBD College Football Show.
And always remember,
no matter what team you pull for, if you're on God's side, you're always on the winning team. Just know that there is a Father in heaven who loves you and wants to have a relationship with you. Romans 5:8 tells us that while we were still sinners, while we were still his enemies, he sent his only son to die for us. If you have any questions about how that works or how you can be saved, the Bible says that if you believe in your heart and confess with your mouth that Jesus is Lord and that God raised him on the third day, then you should be saved. Like I just said, if you have any questions about that, please reach out, DM us, leave a comment on this YouTube video. We're praying for our listeners. We want to talk from you guys. We want to talk to you guys. We want to hear from you guys. And like I said, we just thank you so much for listening. Check us out on our social medias, TikTok and Instagram at TBDCFB. Subscribe, like, hit that bell so you get notifications whenever we post, because we do post some pretty good content that we're sure you'll like. But I'm Mason, along with Isaac and our producer Joey, and this has been TBD College Football.
bye-bye.
Later.